All right, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're listening to this. Welcome to the Check In Podcast. My name is Cameron Billette.
And my name is Ian. I'm her brother.
Yes, and we just want to welcome you to the Check In Podcast, a podcast geared towards young adults where we'll just be talking about current events and sports, music, entertainment, and just some of the things and conversations that we're discussing right now. So to start this podcast, like I do every podcast, Ian, if you could use one word to describe your week, what word would that be?
One word. I would say stressful.
Stressful. Okay. Why was your week stressful?
My week was stressful just because I had a lot of schoolwork to do, and I was filling out my college applications, and um it was just a lot of schoolwork and just a short
Amount of
amount of
time to do
time.
it.
Yeah, and so some of it I just said I gotta take the L on this one, and but I got most of it done. It was just like one assignment that I said it's not gonna get done. It just can't.
That's all that college is, choosing which L you're going to take. Because if anybody tells you that college is, that you are capable of balancing everything in college, or that college is like a perfectly balanced institution, they're lying. Um, Professors, you could take 17 credits, right? 17 credits. That means you have to study for at least that amount of time
During the
outside.
week.
Yeah, outside of the class. You have to take credits. You got to eat. You got to sleep. You got to have a social life. It doesn't always work out like that. So, I mean, at least you're on a good start.
Yeah, I mean, oh my goodness. I mean, I gotten to the point. It was to the point this week where my bed wasn't comfortable. I was in my room all day, and
I know what you mean.
I was just like, I can't take this anymore. I can't take this anymore. It was just ridiculous. I couldn't believe it. Um, I'm glad I got through it, but still,
Yeah, I know. I've had weeks like that before. What did you do to relieve the stress during the week?
I didn't have time to be honest. I'm so
Oh,
serious.
it's one of those weeks. Okay.
I didn't have time to be honest. Because I can't even say I was relieved of stress of watching Game 4 this week. I can't
Mm-hmm.
when the Lakers won. I can't even say that because the next morning I couldn't find my car, so it's just like I couldn't really relish the win like I wanted to.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't find my car.
And for those of you who don't know out there, our complex, our community, they're doing some like what was it called? Touch ups. So they're like repaving the streets and the parking lots and whatnot. And it was one day my dad had to take my truck because he had a painting job. And then my brother was gonna take me to work. We came outside, car was not where he parked it.
Eh,
Called my dad. I said, Dad, do you have Ian's car? He said, No, why? We said it is not out here. But luckily, God loves us. And they just had towed it to the street so that they could, do the paving. But we were freaking out. I didn't know what I was going to do that
I
day.
mean, what do you mean you were gonna do it? I was freaking out.
I had to go to work. I wasn't going to take no Uber.
That's my car.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but we would have got it.
I mean, we would have got it, but it's just like you kept. I said, Cameron, the car's parked this way. Okay, go there and turn, and that's where the car is. And everything, and you kept on calling me and be like, Ian, the car is not out here. The car is not out here. And I'm just like, this girl is crazy. Cause who I can understand forgetting where you parked in a grocery store, mall, whatever.
Right. But this is your house.
This is my home.
Exactly. You don't forget that.
Yeah. So
I
hectic,
was trying to tell you. I was like, it's not out here. I don't know if you lying or you playing a sick joke, but
hectic. But we talked about my week. How was your week? What did you do? Or what was the one word? I forgot the one word. What was the one word?
it's not really one word. I'm going to say one phrase. One phrase for this week is productive chaos.
Productive chaos.
Okay, let
I
me
don't.
say.
I don't sound.
Okay, let me tell you why. So, those of you out there, I take 7 classes, right? Now, it's only 16 credits, but I don't believe in one credit classes. They just be trying to, get over on you, trying to get more money out of you. If you actually we'll get to that in a second. Anyways, like I said, I take 7 classes. So it really should be somewhere around 20 to 21 credits. That's what it should reflect in my transcript. But anyways, I had 7 classes and it's midterm week. And unlike some of you out there, I know some of y'all out there in college, like y'all have certain classes that professors don't make you go to, or you don't have to like be on Zoom all the time. But all 7 of my classes, I have to be on Zoom. All 7 of my classes had midterms. So I had 7 midterms this week. So it was very chaotic, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But it was productive because I was able to study for all of them. I was able to complete all of them, able to get a grade for all of them. So that's why I say productive chaos.
That's good. I mean, yeah, you got through 7 midterms. That's
Yeah, 7 midterms, and I didn't take any days off this week. 'Cause I tried to take off Sunday so that I could like.
and no days off.
Mm-mm.
Solid.
I know, I'm solid. I know. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Hold on, let's relax.
Okay.
Let's not get to your head.
I said thank you, I appreciate it.
Nah, but you said I know I'm solid.
Okay,
So
but I know this. What's wrong with that?
let's relax. You take your compliment, you say thank you, and you go.
Oh,
That's what you
yeah,
do.
you wrong for that.
It's not. I'm not wrong. How am I wrong?
I let you be cocky sometimes. I feel like you could just let me slide this one time.
When have I been cocky?
Anyways, let's not even get into that. But this week, just to like, I had to make a playlist. Like, y'all know I make the playlist and they be in the descriptions. But I had to make a playlist to get me through the week. I needed something to pump me up, to remind me why I'm built different. To remind me. What? I don't like that face.
Oh no, I'm having that smirk because we all build different.
Oh, yeah. If you out there, you built different. Just know that. You built different. Anything that life throws at you, you can handle it because you're strong and because God's got you. So I had to make a playlist to remind me of all the things that I am and that I'm striving to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But speaking of college, how is applying to college is going for you?
Applying to college. It's going well. Actually, I finally got my head above water.
Good. That's good.
I figured out a lot. A lot of things. I figured out how to get my teachers on my recommendation list.
Mm-hmm.
Get my transcripts. I figured out. I had to cut a couple colleges, just realizing like they weren't for me, but still.
What colleges were those?
I had to cut out Hampton because they didn't have anything
That
remotely close to what I wanted
to study. Okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and so I I think that was the only college I cut out.
Mm-hmm.
I added more. I added North Carolina A&T
It's a good school.
and Ohio State University. But overall, it's getting easier and easier, and I'm almost done with these applications. And once I'm done, we're just gonna wait and see.
So, do you see yourself choosing an HBCU or a PWI, or is that aspect of college not like important to you?
I'm not gonna say it's not important to me. I'm just gonna do. I'm just gonna go to the school that I feel like is best for me.
In terms of what are all the things you're considering now when applying to college?
The environment, like not like the people who are there, but like more so like the state or like
Mm-hmm.
the area. Make sure I want to go somewhere that I actually like would enjoy. Then
Do you want to move away from home?
I do, and then I don't,
Mm-hmm.
cause I like this area a lot, but I also like Atlanta. I applied to a good amount of schools there, and all the schools I applied to, they had everything I wanted, and just being in Atlanta last summer, it was just a good environment and a good culture around there. But with the HBCU part, I would love to go to a HBCU
Mm-hmm.
and be where I'm not the minority.
Right.
Um, but then again, I'm not just gonna be like, okay, HBCU, that's where I'm going. Just because it's HBCU, I gotta do what's
Hmm.
best for my future.
So you could see yourself going to a predominantly white institution.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And there's also like always like black student unions, BSU, and different other black organizations that you can attach yourself to, and you won't feel like an outsider in your college community all the time. So that's a good thing.
Okay. I never knew that.
Oh, you didn't know about the Black Student Union?
No.
The Black Student Unions are on a lot of PWI college campuses. I don't know when that was started. That'd probably be a good little information tidbit to give to the audience. But yeah, Black Student Unions are at PWIs, and there's just a plethora of black organizations that are at PWIs. Do you see yourself pledging?
Um, I do see myself pledging,
Mm-hmm.
but then again, that's not like a main thing on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't mind if I didn't pledge. I thought about Kappa
Mm-hmm.
and Omega Sci-Fi.
Yeah, you gotta read about that though, because
Yeah.
I remember I think the book is called Divine Nine, but it's basically like the top 9 Greek organizations, black Greek organizations and stuff. And you kind of want to, if you think about pledging, you might want to look at that stuff because there's a lot of requirements. Pledging is also extremely expensive. Not I don't want to say extremely, but it's expensive. Dues and other things that you got to pay for. So that's something to consider. So when you're looking at college, you're considering the environment of you're considering the environment that the college is in. You're considering the academics
Yeah.
and what else?
Um, I don't really know. I thought that was like
Well, okay, so from my experience in looking at colleges, the city that it's in is very important to me. It was important for me to go to a school where I wanted to go to HBCU. So those are most of the schools that I applied to.
mhm.
Um, I did apply to some PWIs because at the time I was an engineering major.
Yeah.
And so I was saying that some of the HBCUs, not all, but some of the HBCUs that I was applying to didn't have like a program specifically for engineering. I would have to go to an outside school and whatnot, and I didn't want to do that. I also had to consider like, what student life is like. Social life is a big part of college. I do regret not taking advantage of that when I was in my earlier stages of college. Partially, I partially didn't take advantage of that because I was just really depressed when I first got to college. So, my social meter was really low. But the school that I go to, it's not a party school, but there's a lot of things to do socially. There's a lot of ways to make friends and to be with people. You want to know the environment. Are the students at the school cliquey? Meaning like, do they just form groups, and are they snobby? Like, are they open to meet new people? Like, what is the student environment like? You want to know what the faculty is like. You also want to consider. I'm sorry. You want to consider everything. You want to consider what the food is like, because if you're gonna stay on campus, you do have to have a meal plan.
Mhm.
That's like almost every university. The dorms are like. You honestly want to know when your dorms were made and when's the last renovation. That is an important thing to know, because I know that when I was applying to the school I'm at now, some of the dorms, well, most of the dorms, let me start, are quite old, and we've had our issues and whatnot with the dorms, RA life, all that other stuff. But I think now, especially, what's important and what I think students are gonna have to start waking up and realizing that they're the prize.
That they're the what?
The prize. Yeah. Like colleges, especially right now, you need to consider when you go for an interview at a college. Not every college is going to do that, but some colleges, like, they might want to interview you and see why you'd be a good fit for the school. you should be asking them, how did you take care of your student and your faculty during COVID-19? Not just like physically in terms of, okay, so you told students they can move back on campus. How did you social distance? How did you make sure that they were safe? How did you make sure that they were healthy? You need to ask questions like that. You also need to ask questions, how were you in response to students' mental health? Did students get a pass-fail option this semester? I know you guys did it in the spring, but in the fall, nothing changed. And I would argue things actually got worse in terms of the pandemic. Was there a pass-fail option?
Hold on. What is a pass-fail option? Like, what is, like, I know you talked about that before. What is that?
So for those of you out there who don't know what a pass-fail option is, a pass-fail option is basically you do your work for the semester, and instead of getting letter grades, like A, B, C, D, E, F, you get a pass-fail. You either pass the class or you failed the class, meaning that, and that's to like protect people's GPA. So like, let's say last year, I actually ended up getting an A in math. Glory be to God. In Calculus 1. But let's say I got a C, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that C reflecting on my transcript because that messes up my GPA. Messing up my GPA messes up my scholarship. Messing up my scholarship, I might not be able to attend the school that I do. Pass fail is if you get a C, you pass the class. Your GPA does not change. It doesn't mess up your GPA at all. And so that option was given to students in the springtime, in spring 2020, because of the unprecedented times that we're going through. But it hasn't been offered to us again this semester, and it's kind of like, why? Nothing has changed. And on top of that, my personal experience, these teachers are worse. I'm like, you had spring semester and summer school to get this together, and y'all still not doing good. And so, yeah, you want to consider stuff like that.
So for college is a lot of money. So like scholarships. Do you have to apply for all of them? Do you have to apply for all of them, or like a good amount of them just given to you based on like your GPA test scores and just how you're doing?
Some schools give you, so I'm familiar with like need-based scholarships, meaning that, you fill out your FAFSA and the school knows your expected family contribution, your EFC, your expected family contribution. That's how much money based on your parents' income and then all the other things that they list that they have to pay. Based on that, that's how they determine how much you'd probably be able to pay. Once they determine that, they look at your GPA from high school, and with scholarship, and then they might give you a certain scholarship at the university based on like what your GPA was in high school. So you can have different levels, and scholarships have strengths to them. So if, let's say I got a 4.0 in high school, I didn't. I got 3.99. I don't think you guys understand how frustrating that is. But I got like, let's say you got anywhere between a 3.75 and a 4.0 in high school. You could get a scholarship for, half of your tuition or majority of your tuition. But the catch is you have to take at least 16 credits a semester, which can be anywhere between 4 to 5 classes. You have to maintain a 3.5 GPA, and you can't take any breaks. So
what do you mean you can't take any breaks?
Like right now, there's some people who are like, I can't pay for college right now, or things are kind of hard right now. I'm not in the best mental state to be adding on my education. I'm going to take a break this semester, work, or just take a mental break, and I'm going to come back next semester. A person like me who's on scholarship, I would not be able to do that.
Oh, so like a gap year.
Not even a gap year, a gap semester. Like I couldn't take, gap years are usually in between college and high school, or in between undergraduate level college and then graduate school. Those are usually when gap years are taken. But like I said, during these unprecedented times, people are finding that they have to take some time away from the education because education is not free in our country, because, our taxes don't go to that. They go to people like Donald Trump who only pay $750. I'm not going to get into that. That pisses me off. But, yeah, so That's how you get scholarships at your school. Work smarter, not harder. That's what you need to realize in college. Work smarter, not harder. That's another thing. Keep all your work on flash drives because you never know when, like, what I do is I keep syllabuses all the time because sometimes, freshmen and whatnot will ask me, did you take so and so? Did you take this class? What, this, that, and the third? And I'm like, yeah, here's a syllabus I had first semester freshman year. Look at it. If this looks like something that you can do as a student, take this class. If not, I would find somebody else. Um, Also, Rate My Professor is an online platform where I do this every semester. I always go on Rate My Professor. I leave professors' reviews. If you were a crappy professor, I will let you know. I will let you know because the type of student I am, I work hard. I have days where I slack, but all in all, I work hard. I try to actually learn. I don't try to get by. I actually do try to learn. And if I feel like you wasn't helping me do any of that stuff, you're gonna get a 1 star. But rate my professor is a website where you can go on and uh, type in the school or type in the professor. And sometimes when you type in the professor first name and last name, you need to make sure you have all that correct. Sometimes when you type in the professor, I'll have a number of schools because there's a lot of professors who are tenured, but a lot aren't. A lot are teach at multiple schools during the week and whatnot. So you need to look that up and then see what students have to say about them. It'll be different categories. Some categories will be homework. It will be tests, quizzes, written assignments, office hours. It's a category for each like aspect of teaching that they're rated on overall, and you can see, hey, I do want to take this professor or I don't. I do that especially for the math classes and the science classes, seeing if what you want to major in, just to make sure you're getting the best quality education.
Okay. Sounds that sounds all right.
I know that was OC advice, but yeah. But what was I about to say? What do you think about the about asking them how they handled COVID?
I feel I mean COVID is new to everybody, so I know it's not going to be easy for them, but still as a teacher, you need to make sure your students are still getting the proper help that they need.
Right.
I know we said this before in the podcast, but it just felt like it was more work, more work, and it wasn't helping me at all. It was actually making everything worse.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I still got through it. But not everybody can get through that. And so
Right. They're not accommodating to all students.
like some people did do better online.
Mm-hmm.
Some people didn't do better online. My grades didn't like change dramatically, but they went down.
Mm-hmm.
They went down. I mean, it wasn't like a 95. It was more like a 90
Mm-hmm.
or like a 92, but they didn't go down like
Right.
drastically. But I know for others, they took a hard hit,
Mm-hmm.
and that they took a hard hit, and that says something just about the teaching and how they couldn't really appeal to all students.
Right.
Really.
Right.
And so I feel like asking them how they handle COVID is a very essential question, just so you can see how they accommodate to students. And you never know, we could get something like this again. Times is crazy.
Mm-hmm. I'm very
So-
unpredictable.
Yeah, you just gotta. That's a good question to ask.
Yeah. I think they should ask that even when COVID is over. Because for me, COVID is the crisis of all crises. So
What do you mean?
there's a lot of things that universities have to, a lot of outside crises that universities have to tackle, especially universities that are kind of like in hurricane states. So you kind of want to ask them, okay, how did you treat your students when it was hurricane season? Um, how did you ensure their safety? If they had to evacuate, did you make sure your students had a place to go? Um, was tuition cut for anybody? Stuff like that as well. Because I know that my tuition cost this year, that this is the lowest school bill I've ever had. And that's because, and I was calling financial aid and then people up there, and I was like, I'm not about to pay all this money if I'm about to be sitting in my computer at my house for 7 hours of the day. That's not about to happen. I don't care how much money y'all need. Stuff like that. Tuition costs, how they take care of their students. Also, how they handle crime on campus. Are their campuses overly policed? Are the serious crimes that are brought to them, are they taken seriously? What is the punishment for students? You also need to look at punishments too, for like you need to know what exactly you can get kicked out for, what exactly you can go on probation for, because different universities have different things. Of course, like the outstanding things like plagiarism. If people catch you plagiarizing things, you can get kicked out, and cheating and stuff like that. But there's also other things that universities don't have that. So you should consider that stuff too.
What is probation like on campus? Like what is that?
Probation, I think, is something like where I know academic probation, you are, well, this is why Google is free. Okay, so on most campuses, academic probation means that a student has not met a minimum threshold to be in good academic standing, and that typically is a minimum grade point average. Intended as a red flag to let students know they need to get back on track. Academic probation is a result of failing grades. Let's see. Those working in higher education encourage students not to think of academic probation as a punishment, but rather as support from the school. It offers an opportunity, they say, for students to discover campus resources that can help them be successful. Academic probation, like if you're doing bad in classes, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, your GPA is not high enough, basically you got like a semester or whatever to get these grades up, and if you can't get them up, you'll be kicked. You'll not kicked out, but you'll be you might lose your scholarship, or you might lose something that allows you to stay at the university. I don't know if there's other types of probation, like when you commit a crime on campus. I know that being a woman on campus is a little disheartening when you hear of how campuses what they say, how campuses responded to sexual assault allegations from certain people. A lot of times people like that don't meet their justice. So you have to consider that as well. I know everybody knows about Brock Turner. He wasn't, I don't think he was expelled from the school, and he only got 3 months probation. You know what I'm saying? Like for raping somebody. Okay, let's look up who Brock Turner is.
It sounds very.
Okay, Brock Turner, People versus Turner, formerly the people of the state of California versus Brock Allen Turner, is a criminal case in which Brock Turner was convicted by jury trial of 3 counts of felony sexual assault. He was convicted of 3 counts of sexual assault. I think he was on the swim team, and he was not expelled from the school, and he only received 3 months of like actual probation from the law, but stuff like that. You'll learn about Title IX. Huh?
Just 3 months?
Yeah, you'll learn about Title IX. You need to figure out how they assist students with disabilities, not just physical disabilities, but students with Asperger's, autism, dyslexia, other things like that. So those are things that you want to consider. But a good way to find out this information also is on your online communities through social media. Do you follow anybody that is going to some of the colleges that you have applied to, or at some of the colleges that you've applied to?
I follow some of my friends that went to high school with me. They've applied to just one of the schools I've considered, and they seem like they enjoy it there. From what they've been at, they seem like they enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we also have uncles that went to one of the schools that I've applied to in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And nonstop they talk to mom and dad about just wanting me to go there. And of course, mom and dad's alma mater.
Mm-hmm.
They want us to go there. So, um, yeah, I've gotten like a good. I gotten a good. What is the word I'm looking for?
Just of
Yeah,
like
good
some of the
gist.
schools that you applied to.
Yeah, that's what.
Well, I asked about like, do you follow anybody on social media? Because one of the downsides of COVID is that you can't really do college visits. So, do you feel like social media has helped you in figuring out the vibe of some of these schools, or no?
Um, not really, because there's only so much they can do online.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's only so much they can do online, especially during this time about like how campus life is and like the environment, because I can't really get a good feel for the environment if it's I can't really get a good feel for the environment just by looking at the camera and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah, I'm talking about on social media. Oh, sorry.
yeah,
I see what you're saying. You can't get you a school visit on Zoom. Is what you're saying,
on Zoom
or online?
where they go Instagram live.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah,
can't get a good
yeah.
gist of that.
So okay, so do you think social media does more harm or more good?
In recent years,
Mm-hmm.
especially with our generation, I would say more harm.
Really? Like,
Yeah.
what about it is harmful?
Um, people are crazy out there. People know how to get addresses. People people know how to get addresses, your IP address. People know people can find out literally anything
Mm-hmm. On social
online.
media, online, and once it's online, it's on there forever.
Yeah, like people on like Twitter and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've seen stuff that's just like this you, and they drop their address, phone number, everything
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. That's
I'm
kind of
just
messed
like
up.
that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is.
That's
It
kind
is
of
for
crazy.
sure.
That's kind of crazy. And sometimes people go to social media for just like an outlet from their regular life, and that so it, what we see is not really good necessarily.
Yeah, and
So
what be
and like
what's true.
there's cyberbullying and all that. So it's those main things um they outweigh the good.
So you don't think that social media can be like helpful in any type of way?
No, it can be helpful. It
Mm-hmm.
can be helpful in getting like connections with people um that can help you out in whatever like you need in life. I don't know, like money situations, like GoFundMe's and all that. You spread that social media, like
Mm-hmm.
they can help and stuff like that. But it's just like the bad. You see more bad than good now.
I feel like I don't know. I'm like 50-50 on the whole social media conversation. I think you're meant to take from social media what you need, and the bad things just leave it there, cuz I think social media is helpful. Um it's informative, especially during the protests and whatnot earlier. The protests, the organizations, um, the rallies, all of that stuff earlier in the year. I think it was very informative for those on the front lines and stuff like that, and getting information out and making sure, especially since we've seen how unreliable our television is and how much programming goes into what's put on the news.
Mhm.
Social media, like when everything was going on earlier this year, the news would say one thing, you get to social media, you see the actual footage, you like, So y'all been lying.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that with protest and quote unquote riots. I'm not gonna lie, there have been riots, but it's not like everything has been riots and anything like that. And
Mm-hmm.
when you look at the comments, you look at the mentions, it's just like, oh my gosh, all they do is riot, all they do is riot. That's what the news tells you.
Right,
That's
right,
what the
right.
news tells you. That's not what the numbers tell you. That's not what the people are telling you that actually went there. That's only what the news is telling you.
Facts.
So, and there was like a stat that said only 7% of the riots turned violent, or like the protests turned violent.
Mm-hmm.
So, meaning like into riots and stuff like that. And so,
Or when the
it's,
news would show one thing of, they would show the end after the police had tear gassed them and then people started going crazy, and then you get on social media and you see that the police instigated the entire thing.
yeah. And I'm just like, you can't base a movement protest off of 7% when the
At all.
93% is good.
Exactly.
So yeah.
I think also at a time like this, social media is filling a lot of voids. Um, when I say voids, I mean people with COVID. COVID has taken a very social aspect of our lives, and also like people are really lonely out there. I think sometimes, not all the times, but sometimes when you get on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and you say something or you put something out there and you get to interact with people, um, it can be kind of fun, kind of fill your void. You don't feel like as lonely or as what's the word I'm looking for? Not lonely, but yeah, I would say lonely. Also, like building community. It's what I've realized about social media is that there's a community for everybody.
Mhm.
You know, if you think you're the only person that thinks a certain way out there, you're not. Get on some social media app, website, whatever, and you'll eventually find your community. Um, through what you say, through what you like, your timeline and stuff like that will begin to be curated by you. Don't you feel that way?
Yeah. I feel that way. My favorite social media app is Twitter.
It's so funny. How could it not?
It's hilarious, but I feel like everybody's experience with Twitter, they got on there, didn't understand a thing, and then they just started using it, and now everything is catered to them.
Yes, that's exactly how it
And
is.
like, cause that was my experience. But when people say they don't like Twitter, I'm just like, okay, you're one of those people that are on their break right now. Okay, you're on your break right now. You don't.
A
you
social
can't.
media break. Yeah, yeah,
You can't say you don't like Twitter. I mean, everybody loves Twitter.
yeah.
So
But it is important to take breaks because the one thing about social media is that it's pervasive.
what do you mean by pervasive? Like,
Pervasive. Well, actually, I think this is an important thing to look up. I'm gonna look it up first. I know what the word means, but it would just help better if I. So, pervasive, spreading widely throughout an area or a group of people. Um, let's look up a different definition because pervasive definition. Merriam-Webster. So pervasive is most often used of things we don't really want spreading throughout all parts of something. But when I say social media is pervasive, you're involuntarily exposed to things
yeah,
that when I'm scrolling across my timeline. For example, at the beginning, earlier in this year, when George Floyd was murdered, rest in peace, I kept seeing this image of a police officer on this black man's neck. And the thing is, like, that's kind of traumatic. I
yeah,
didn't ask to see that. You know what I'm saying? So like it's able to just spread. Like information, um, triggering content, traumatic content is able to just spread without you um is able to spread, and you're able to be exposed to it without you saying, yes, I want to be exposed to this, or no, I want to be exposed to this. And you're kind of saying yes when you sign the terms and agreements, when you sign up for an app, that terms and agreements saying that none of us read. I know none of us read it, but you're basically saying that, hey, whatever I see on here, I've agreed to seeing it, and I'm not going to sue the app, this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a harmful thing, because things don't come with trigger warnings. Sometimes, I mean, you see everything on social media. I'm like, you see good stuff and hilarious stuff, but you see anything comes across your timeline, murder, porn, what else? Like, those are the two most common things that it's just like, I did not ask to see this. I literally did not ask to see this, and somehow it's on my timeline. And it's like the block button and the mute button don't always work, because I block accounts when I don't want to see it, but it still don't always work. Do you feel like that or no?
Yeah. Yeah, you said like yeah. I don't want to see pornography on Twitter, or any app. I don't want to see it. Cuz it's just like, it's so off guard. It catches you so off guard. It's just like, wait, what?
What's going on?
Everything. It's just like, what type of time are y'all on right now? But yeah, especially like with like murder and stuff like that.
Or even stories that people tell.
Yeah. People are relatively young.
Yeah.
And so this is my generation of being like, and they're young and they're on social media and stuff like that. They're probably like 12, 13, 14, and they're seeing people die and anything like that, and it's not a video game. It's not a movie. It's real life. And so that can be really traumatic for young people. I mean, we all get nightmares, but you hear about little kids getting nightmares and stuff like that. So they could be up all night and just be paranoid and all that. So yeah, I do feel that social media is pervasive in what you said and how you said it.
Yeah. We have a little cousin who is 10, and he doesn't have any social media, but even the stuff he sees on YouTube, there's a lot of hidden agendas and messages and things geared towards kids. I know a lot of the stuff, like some of the stuff that he shows me that he's watching, and it's got puppets, like the puppets and stuff are in it. I'm like, this is so. I'm like, what are they doing? And I could see how parents wouldn't, because there's obvious like things that you want to monitor. Like, okay, I'm more likely to monitor something that has actual humans in it rather than something that's cartoon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you can see how parents don't really catch it.
Catch it right away.
And then they get all surprised when they're coming to them talking about this and that.
Right. They're like, where did you hear this? Like, I'm seeing you watch cartoons and stuff like that. Like, how are you coming up with these types of questions and stuff to ask me? I think it pushes people to grow up a little faster as well.
I feel like once our generation becomes parents and stuff like that, we would know how to handle that better. But then again, technology does evolve
quickly. It's evolving so much faster than it's evolving way fast. I honestly think that generations are separated by a generation can span anywhere between 20 to 30 years.
Are you talking about like human generations?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A generation can span anywhere from 20 to 30 years. Basically the timeline of separation between parents and their children. So like if your parents, most of your parents had you between the ages of 20 and 30, most of your parents. But I honestly think the generations, we have to add a new aspect to generations, because that generational thing was okay back in the day when technology wasn't moving at the speed of light. And, let's say the difference between my generation and Dad's generation is the fact that Dad used record players and we use CD players.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference between like me and my cousin is the fact that my first phone was a flip phone and his first phone was an iPhone. And
iPhone 10.
iPhone 10. And even though we're only 10 years apart, we still have, the way I grew up is very much different than the way he grew up.
Yeah.
It like to an extent. And so I think that with technology, like, it's also shortening our generations. Generations aren't just about like how old your parents are versus how old my parents are. Generations are also about like, what type of technology did you grow up with? What type of technology did I grow up with?
Yeah.
Because technology is making our kids grow up faster anyways.
Yeah, I see so many people with like, not people, kids with like tablets and stuff like that, like tablets, phones, iPods. I'm just like, I ain't never had none of this when I was young. I had a DS and everything, and
Nintendo DS
and I
and
kept
a Kindle.
a Kindle, and I kept it pushing. I kept it pushing. I ain't never had no iPad Pro, no Chromebook, no phone. I mean, I'm just looking at it, I'm just like, what is going on?
No, seriously, I feel that. I also we talked about community, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think social media, the only downside is like there's a flip to everything. So it's good because you can find community in social media, but the only downside is that I think social media empowers the wrong kinds of people sometimes, and empowers the wrong types of communities. There's some people whose opinions should never be heard.
We can name celebrities. We can name the celebrities.
Yeah, you can. Like who?
T.I., Terry Crews. Who else is out there? She not really like a good known celebrity, but she's a celebrity. B. Simone.
Summer Walker. Summer Walker is actually one of the worst.
Summer Walker has the brain of baked beans, is what they call it. She has a can of beans in her head.
That's what I'm saying by it empowers the wrong types of people because...
Hold on. One more. Kanye West.
Oh, my God.
Kanye West.
Oh, my Lord.
Is a main one that everybody loves.
Oh, my Lord.
Please do not vote for Kanye when you guys go out to the polls. I can't vote yet, but don't vote for Kanye. Vote blue. I beg of you guys. Vote blue.
Because in this election, there is such thing as a lesser of the two evils. There just is. I know we're tired of it and we're exhausted of it, but I mean, the coronavirus alone, y'all should just want better for yourselves.
Coronavirus alone, and if the racism, sexual assault allegations, just everything bad with this man in office, if that did not steer you wrong,
then what's going on?
Coronavirus.
That's what I'm saying.
Coronavirus is the main thing that should be on your head, and how he did not handle this, and how we are all stuck at home, learning, not being able to see your friends. Everybody's taking a hit. Your money's taking a hit. Your mental health is taking a hit. And then when your mental health trickles down to your physical health, that is taking a hit. So please go out there and vote blue. Vote for Joe Biden and vote for Kamala Harris. Please, everybody.
Yeah, that's always gonna be my sentiment. Please do that, because especially through social media, Trump has empowered the worst kinds of people.
And it's just not even funny because you see what they say about him, and you're just like, you really believe this?
Yeah, that's the social media allows certain people to have platforms, and I think there should be a cap on how many people are allowed to follow somebody.
I don't think there should be a cap on followers. I just think
it limits exposure to somewhat of a degree, in my opinion.
It does, because sometimes some things that pop up in your timeline are based on who follows them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like anybody liked it, you liked it. It's this person follows them, so I think that you like it. But like Donald Trump especially, um, he had coronavirus last week. Okay, that man did not get through that in 3 days. I promise you, he didn't. I promise you, he did not get through that in 3 days. And the video of him taking off his mask. Goodness gracious, everybody. We don't wish death on anybody, but that is a recipe.
That's a recipe for death.
That's a recipe for death. Okay. He did not look like he was breathing well. He's already old. He already can't walk well. I mean, what it's not good. He's not keeping himself in good health, and he's trying to pull a wall over your eyes, and he's trying to pull a wall over your eyes, guys. Fool you guys, and thinking that he's built different. Our
no pun intended.
No pun intended. Our playlist is built different, but it's not built different in that way. Okay, please. And then he made another video yesterday. I think I sent it to you.
Mm-hmm, you did.
And he was just talking about himself. And if you guys can watch that video, he was just talking about himself, talking about I am elderly. I know it doesn't look like I'm elderly.
I know some of you don't know this. Boy, shut up.
Like, come on, dog. And he was just like, my DNA is USA and all. Like, this man is foolish. He is foolish. He is foolish.
Yeah, he's ridiculous.
So
I'm just this all ties into our social media talk. Just be mindful of what you follow, who you follow. Be mindful of try to be mindful and be aware of what you're being exposed to. In this day and age, again, I'm still 50-50. Social media, everything good about social media has something that that's the opposite. I said social media is helpful, but it's also harmful. It's informative, but also spreads misinformation. It fills voids and allows you to be a part of communities. But what are the communities? Some of the communities are bad. Some of the communities should not be empowered. Some of the people in these communities should not be empowered just because somebody else thinks like them and believes like them. So, that's where I'm leaving that conversation. I didn't listen to any music this week, y'all. I'm sorry. I had midterms to get through, but I did make a playlist for y'all. It was for me. I was gonna make a different playlist, but I was doing my research. Seemed like everybody was going through midterms and stuff around the same time, so that's why or even if y'all have a midterms next week, this playlist is for you. What you been listening to this weekend?
I couldn't really talk about it last Friday, just because it just dropped last Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So Savage Mode 2 is a really good album. Listen to that.
What'd you like about the album?
It was just him. It was just 21 Savage. Everything, you could tell that was his personality, and he shows his personality consistently throughout his albums. Because I remember his last one was really good too.
Which one? Is that the one with a lot on it?
Yeah.
I Was.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That was really good too. He doesn't make music consistently for you guys to know that he's a really good rapper, but that man has talent, and especially with Morgan Freeman on it,
that was tough. I'm not gonna lie.
He did something there with that one, and everything was cohesive, and everything flowed beautifully. And even though I'm not gonna say not a positive message, because I mean that's 21 Savage's personality, but you got his message.
I see running, Glock in my lap, many men, snitches and rats.
Yeah,
stepping on this one say stepping on niggas, brand new Draco. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but you got his message. and anything like that. And it was just a work of art.
Quick question. Do you think artists have a duty to make positive influencing music or no?
Um, I feel like artists have a responsibility to do something positive outside of their music, because music is what music you can't judge a person by music. You can't you can't judge a person by what they create, because it may just be what's popping and anything like that, and they're just trying to stay relevant.
So you think artists create more so to stay relevant rather than creating art that reflects the reality?
Stay relevant to make money.
So you don't think their art reflects the reality?
I think back then with NWA and Tupac and Biggie, all that, like me listening to them, that was the reality. And I think just artists nowadays, I think artists nowadays, they just rap about what partially of what they see, but partially like just to entertain and just to make sure that they're still making money. I think that's how it. I think that's how it is.
You think that's all artists or just like
Not all artists, but like, cause like we have J. Cole, we have Kendrick, we have what else do we have out there?
but I don't think they have to necessarily be the quote unquote conscious rappers to be rapping about their reality. I honestly think a lot of these rappers rap about what they live. Not all of them, but I think a lot of them do.
I mean, rapping what they live in terms of like money and stuff like that, and because they rap about money a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have a lot of money, so
So you're saying with this 21 Savage album, it's not really a reflection of his reality. It's he just made this album because this is what's popping right now.
no, I think 21 Savage, um, his reality was like before he was like a popping rapper and stuff like that. His reality was just um, violence, guns,
Mm-hmm.
all that. So
So when you hear rappers rapping about the same thing, so like if you were to hear Snoop Dogg rapping about Snoop Dogg's been around since what, the 80s, right?
yeah, more so 90s.
Yeah, but he's been around for a cool minute. So when you hear him rapping about the same stuff he was rapping in the 80s, do you think artists have an obligation to grow so that they can give you different content, or do you think artists should just stay in their quote unquote respective lane?
I feel like it's both
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like it's both because some artists are more relevant than others,
Mm-hmm.
and so we would love to see how like their talent. We would love to see if they can fit into like different aspects of the game, but some of them are not as relevant, and it's just like social status. It's like if you were to be, I don't know, like if I were to be like me being me and my and a son, and if I were to tell dad what to do,
Mm-hmm.
it would be like, who are you? Like who are you talking to like that? So I think it depends on relevancy. That's
Wait,
how,
what do you mean? Say that again. I don't understand.
like, so if I were to tell dad what to do, like I'm the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the youngest out of the family.
Okay.
If I were to try to like run in the show and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
it would be like, who are you? Who are you to tell us this? Who are
Right,
you to
right,
tell
right.
us that? So it's like if someone is not as who is not as relevant is trying to someone who's not as relevant is trying to like be a big dog now and stuff like that, and it's not really their time yet. It's just like, who are you?
Who are you to tell them what their time is?
Everybody has a time, and I feel like everybody knows their time.
Okay, I feel that. It's hard to read the climate though. You don't. There's a difference between like what people like to hear on the radio and what people are talking about on social media, and then what people personally are open to. Listeners and audiences are a lot more open than I think the industry lets on or allows our artists to know. And also, our artist knows their audience best. So, on one hand, I think it's an artist's responsibility to grow and to make sure that the work they're putting out is reflective of that growth and reflective of their reality. But then on the other hand, I think that an artist knows their audience, and if an artist has fallen into a certain niche or audience group, then they're gonna produce what they think that audience likes, and I think that's what 21 Savage did. Before we go, what's your favorite track off the album?
Favorite track? Let me look at that.
I got it right here.
Oh, what do you? I like. I like the one with Young Thug. It's very.
What's it called?
I can't really say the title.
Let me see it.
There you go.
The one with Young Thug. Oh,
Yeah.
you can't. It's called Rich Nigga Shit. That's what it's called.
Okay. I like Glock in my lap, and I like Running. Those are my 3.
Running. Okay. Those are your top 3 from the album.
Yeah.
Okay, you heard it here first. 21 Savage's latest album with Metro Boomin is a banger. It's a good album. You heard Ian's top 3. Again, this is the Check-In Podcast with Cameron and Ian, where young adults come and we talk about current events. We talk about sports, music, everything that's going on in our lives. Thank you for checking in with us. We hope to see y'all next week on Friday at 3 p.m. Remember to lead with light and lead with love.
Peace. Go vote. Go vote.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace. Bye, y'all.